Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 9:34 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, May the 30th, the year 2017. I'm going to do a reading here, tarot reading. I'm going to be using the Angel Card Reading Kit by Doreen Virtue. And I've already shuffled the cards, kind of figured I'd save a little bit of time for the monologue. And I'm going to cut the deck and see what we come up with. So, cutting the deck. This particular card is right side up, and it is leadership again. Huh. Must be germane to the situation. I have to tell you, I was thinking about something earlier today, and that's the fact that I actually wanted to do a 3-card pull, so I'm going to go ahead and pull cards 2 and 3. Leadership's the first card. The second card is Clairsentience, and the final card is Brilliant Idea. Okay, I'll take that action. Alright, now, before I get too far here, I either need my glasses or the flashlight. I'll go with the flashlight. Alright, so I guess we'll talk about each of the concerns at hand. Beginning with leadership. I'm looking at things right now in our world as they stand, and honestly, it's a lot scary. We don't know what's going to happen. There's all this controversy about, shall we say, improprieties regarding certain recent activities and appointments, and you just don't know what's going to come down next. I would say that it might not be a bad time for all of us, in our own way, in our own manner, to take the lead and consider that no one person can do it by themselves. This is not necessarily a matter of some will lead and some will follow and some will do nothing. This is more a matter of, I want to say, we as a people, and I mean that globally, not just in the United States, but globally. Maybe we should take a look at why things are the way they are, and to each of our own abilities, do what we can to make it a better place. There's a saying I'd heard some years ago, and I hear it every now and then. It is, think globally and act locally. Hold on just a moment. My cat was signaling they wanted to get in, so I had to take care of that. Back to this matter. I don't really know or believe if it's a matter of, someone needs to jump out of the clear blue and suddenly take over the task. But at the very least, if you as an individual see something happening and it's not okie dokie, within reason, do something about it. I was recently given some information. No, not through non-physical means. This was something I heard about, and it's the idea that, all right, here we are on this planet, and things are very strange. It's like, all right, so if you can do something. And this is where I was going. The idea of bullying. No matter how you look at it, bullying is simply not cool. There's no other way to put it. I had my personal experiences with being bullied as a kid, a few cases as young adults, certain places I've lived, and it's not a good thing. Now we can talk about well, bullies are people who weren't loved and they need love. I don't know. From the perspective of having been the recipient of some of that stuff, I'm not sure the needing love is what they need. I'm thinking they need something else, but I'll spare you my thoughts on that matter. Let me see. I know I'm kind of rambling here. I'm just sort of waiting for the stuff to gel in my head. For me, it comes down to do your best to do the right thing. And somehow bullying is not part of that. If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. You know? And by the way, that doesn't quite cover get along to go along, get in to fit in. Somehow that strikes me as compromising who you are as a person. That's not something you should do. You should have to do. You should be able to be you, and other people should be able to be them, and that should be that. I've often mused on the fact that if Buddha and Christ and Kuan Yin and Muhammad and other famous religious world leaders got together to have a conference, there wouldn't be a word of argument between them. It just seems like one generation after that meeting, things go south terribly, and they've gone south exponentially since that point. My thought is, if they can get along, why can't we? If you look at animals, there have been animals. There was a story I caught on YouTube some years back about, I think it was a tiger, a lion, and a bear that had been raised together. They were best of buds. Now, you and I both know, we all know that, out in the wild, separately raised, it's a bloodbath. It's ugly. And the telling part about it is when they separated them, quote, for their own safety, they were miserable. So, if animals that many of us consider dumb, I'm not one of those people. I don't think animals are dumb at all. I think they're quite smart. Can do that. Why can't we? So that's kind of my little spin on leadership. I find it very interesting that it came up a second time again. I need to look up a certain word while I am vaguely aware of what it means. I'd like more of a dictionary definition. And the word is clairsentience. And there we are. Clairsentience apparently means clear sensing. It's the ability to feel the past, the present, or future physical and emotional states of others without the use of the normal five senses. Psychics who are clairsentient are able to retrieve information from houses, public buildings, and outside areas. And yeah, I've had a couple cases of that. More to the point, the emotional states. I know here recently, without getting into too much detail, I kept feeling something in the this is going to be a little tough, in the final stages of someone near and dear to me before they transition. And at first I kind of shrugged it off. I just thought, man, what is that about? Because the first place I'm looking is me. What am I picking up? What am I sensing? And I really didn't have a good what am I looking for? Explanation. And as it began to continue, it became fairly evident what the source was. And that person has since transitioned, and all those feelings have gone. You can look at situations where you've gone into a room, maybe a couple in the middle of a couple's discussion, we'll call it euphemistically, and you can either cut the tension with a butter knife, or you've run into a child who's had their wits scared out of them. Without even speaking, it's like something's going on. I've heard many times in my lifetime that we all have five senses, And then some people expand on it and say, well, we have a sixth sense. Another variation on that theme I've heard is, for every physical sense you have an energetic, non-physical, spiritual sense. I'm reminded of a situation from years ago. It was really quite bizarre. We had gone out to Pittsburgh, California to visit a friend. And my other half, who has the directional sensing ability of a homing beacon, she doesn't get lost. We got lost. We wound up on, I think they're called the switchback roads near, they're not the water dams, they're not spillways. Basically, they are large berms of dirt that keep certain sections of the various rivers in the state of California from overflowing. And these are not roads that you want to go over the side of, because you wind up being lost permanently, if you know what I'm saying. But we just could not seem to find our way home. It's like, this was weird. Well, the night got stranger, because by the time we finally did get home, we came in the door and I could smell garbage. And I mean, it was foul. We didn't have anything in the kitchen that would have caused this aroma. There was nothing in the trash. There was nothing down in the disposal. I mean, it's not like I went in there with my hand and checked around, but I have a tendency, if we go on a trip, that the place is clean so we don't come home to anything funky. I did opt to take out the trash, which might have been about 3/4 full, let it air for a bit, and the aroma was still hanging hard. And there's no other way to put it. I told Vicky, I said, please bear with me. She's gotten used to me doing this sort of thing every now and then. But I opened the door and I rebuked the foul aroma in the name of Jesus Christ. Yes, you heard me right. Couldn't have been 5 minutes later, the aroma split. What it was, where we picked it up, why it was, I don't know. But it was a very strange thing. The reason I bring up the story is to demonstrate that there are things that we perceive that aren't necessarily five senses, that don't fall into that category. And I would like to encourage all of you to not only look at things, hear things, smell, taste, situation given, and feel things with your hands, but allow your other senses to perhaps enhance what it is you're picking up. And I'm going to tell you right now, for this particular reading, that card is inverted. So to me, that's kind of a message for maybe myself directly, maybe some of you out there, that there are things you might be feeling, perceiving, sensing, that you are discounting because they're not coming through the normal, quote, normal five senses channel. Don't do that. Don't do that at all. If you're picking up something, if you think you're hearing something but you can't find an audible source, don't ignore it. Just kind of give yourself a chance to perceive it, because it might be something important. Don't go bananas with this. Stay in balance, stay centered, stay focused. But again, if you have something on, so to speak, your radar screen that's not coming across the normal channels, if you will, don't ignore it. Just take a look at it, because it might be something very, very important and very germane to you. Okay? And for this 3-card reading, here's the final card, and that is Brilliant Idea. Sometimes you have a thought or an idea. Like, I had an idea recently for something. I'm not going to go into detail because I want to get this idea to someone who can handle it. I don't particularly have the wherewithal to handle it, and I'd have to contact certain people. But the notion is, I believe that all of us, from time to time, have had something pop in our head. A thought, an idea, a solution. And there's a tendency to say, oh, well, that won't work. We discount it before we even get it out of the gate. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that. If you have an idea for something, first off, at the very least, get some pen and paper and write it down. That's one. Two, keep looking at it. Read it over. If it takes a few minutes, a few hours, a few days, just keep looking at it, because the next thing that happens is you wind up having it fleshed out. It's almost as if the initial idea is a skeleton, and over time you get to flesh that out until such point in time as it becomes fully manifest. You have the whole of the idea in its full state, in its manifest state, and from there you can run with it. On the other hand, you might have the idea, and let's say you have a friend named Joe. I actually do. It's like, Joe, I had this thought the other day, and I don't really know what to do with it. And Joe listens thoughtfully. It's like, Scott, this might be something to add to it. And boom, you both your eyes light up, because you suddenly realize in that discussion that another piece of the puzzle has been fitted together. So, to round this out, you have an idea, something pops in your head from left field, and you have no idea as to what to do with it. Write it down. Hold on to it. Think about it, because you never know where that's going to lead. Okay? Now to, finish this out, I'm going to read out what each of the cards say and which angel has, authored it. For leadership, we have Archangel Gabriel. It is time for you to assume your leadership power, position, and lovingly guide others. Okay? For Clairsentience, we have Archangel Raguel. Notice your recurring physical and emotional feelings as they signify divine guidance. Well, here's a thought for anyone who wants to answer this. What does it mean when your body keeps itching? Just saying. And lastly, brilliant idea. Archangel Uriel. Yes, your idea is divinely guided. Please take action to bring your idea to fruition. And bear in mind, everything I spoke about before I read this information on the card, I did so before I actually read the information. Although, to be clear, the leadership card was already there in the mix. So, and the Clairsentience card, just for your edification, was inverted. But I find it very interesting that the leadership card has popped up again. So, there we have it. It is currently 9:52 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Again, it's May 30th, the year 2017. And I wish you all peace and wellness. I will be uploading this pretty soon, and hopefully I'll get back into doing this, at least the cards, once a day. Take care of yourselves. This is Scott Albert. Namaste.